Should we retweet this thing?
Yes.
The goal. These people in here. I mean, it might not have worked on Periscope. Oh, it did. Periscope's still alive. Hey, how about that?
Periscope lives.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chad Eckert, and that's Joe Idone, and this is the Preferred Lines podcast. And yes, we are excited, although it is a letdown from last week. Whew. I mean, my gosh. Overload of golf for the Masters where you can watch every shot. It is great, but it's also like, bye, family. I'm going to hibernate for a few hours every day.
I know.
But yes, we're back. We're here. The RBC Heritage. It is fun. And it is also going to have a Jock Market. And you better go over there and sign up. If you didn't take advantage of the $50 that Joe was giving away, you could do the 20 using PL20 on your first sign up. You deposit money in there. They'll match you back $20.
Yeah, huge gains last week for a couple of people who were smart enough and I guess somewhat lucky enough to take Matsuyama for like $6 a share, and Zalatoris was down there in like the $5 range. So idiots
Joe,
like me who spent my money in this $8 to $10 range came out foolish.
Yeah, that's sometimes, you got to go risk it for the low range. That's what I like to do, and you don't lose as much if you're terrible. I will say, watching the Power Hour has brought me and Eric Quagnus Martins, my co-host on the Fantasy Golf Pod, into the Hideki world because Rick Run Good had been touting this. Hey, check out this guy's irons. You might want to bid on him. You may want to look at this guy. And this was, I'm like, are you kidding me? So I even mentioned this on the ownership pod I did. I was like, I'm going more Hideki than I am Fitzpatrick, even though people were on Fitzpatrick. So because of Rick Run Good, you guys do some serious touting on that show too.
Yeah, some serious touting. That's one way to put it. But no, yeah, Rick always seems to be. I should just listen to Rick more because he's always seems to be one step ahead of the game. He had master strokes gain stats last week up on his site, like the first one I've ever seen publish something like that. So yeah, he was on like many things. Like he's told me all year, ripped me for like betting Mickelson, and last week he was like, "Yeah, I think Phil's a good play," and it turns out like Phil ended up like top 25ing. So I should have been on Phil. I'm just going to start listening to Rick for now on. It's probably a good way to play it.
Yeah, right. He's maybe an expert. Whatever. We're just hashtag not experts. Every week we will be bringing on a guest, someone that's smarter than us. Rick has been a guest before. We did have Pat Mayo. We're having real guests to provide their insight this week. We're just going to get right to the betting board. However, there will be a Q&A after, at the end of the pod. We're going to let you guys ask us questions or whatever you have, and we're going to give you guys stuff. We're going to give away a t-shirt. So here's how you enter it into the t-shirt giveaway drawing. Retweet this Periscope live version of our pod. Great, you're in. Next week, we'll give another away for anyone who retweets after it's over with. So you're in the drawing if you retweet now for now, and you're in the drawing if you retweet now for next week, and you're in the drawing if you hear this. Maybe it's Wednesday afternoon. Hey, we did this on Monday night, but go to Twitter, retweet us, and boom, you're into the drawing for next week's tournament. There you go.
Love it. Awesome. Is it time to crack a beer yet?
That is right. It's a time to crack a beer and crack open the betting board. And this week, Joe, we're using our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. I'll add it into the stream. You should be watching live on YouTube. But at the same time, I will share as much information as I can to help these iTunes listeners. We're also on iTunes. Rate, review, hit the 5-star. Joe, this sportsbook, the DraftKings Sportsbook, has Webb Simpson at the tippity-tip top. I'm kind of confused. I was Webb 8.5 to 1 and DJ 12.5 to 1, when in some books, if you do dig and you find and you look and you locate Webb at 12 to 1 as well. So I don't know. Is there some shark, some whale, some giant bettor just threw a bunch of money on Webb on the DraftKings Sportsbook, or is this happening? Is this going to happen all over the place?
That's interesting because everyone that I've checked has been essentially those exact odds flipped. DJ in the 8 to 10 range, Webb at like 12. So yeah, interesting. Obviously the course history here. Short Bermuda grass course plays right into Webb Simpson's hands. And I think a little bit of the, he hasn't been the same Dustin Johnson that we've been used to seeing, especially, miscut at the Masters. But even you look back a little bit before that, through the Florida swing and even through the end of the California swing there, something's not right. So interesting. But yeah, still, if I'm like picking one of these two guys at the top, I'm going with DJ 100 out of 100 tournaments if they're equal in odds.
Which is weird because they shouldn't be equal in odds. And hey, Charlie, big fan of you as well. Thank you for your order on our Big Cartel website. We do have a site. If you want a t-shirt or one of those cool hats that Joe's wearing, you can do that. Or, hey, that flag or the towel in the background.
Yep.
Go to our website. It's Google Big Cartel Preferred Lines, and you'll find us. Joe, are you? Oh my gosh, that's a sick shirt, actually. So
we got
hey,
look a couple of new styles up.
Now, if you're not on Twitter and you don't follow Joe, Joe is making shirts. Look at those things. Those are sweet.
Yeah, dude,
long shots and lagers. Who doesn't want a long shot with a lager? Cheers to that.
Cheers.
All right,
two things we love.
Did you go to the top of the board, or you would say yes, of course, take DJ over Weber. Maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would, depending on course history, if that's your thing or not. Did you go up there?
No, I didn't. This was I don't bet that top of the board that much. And it's just kind of a weird week coming off the Masters. DJ at that number, not going to bet it at 10 to 1. Webb, thought about it. No, the guys, I'd skip over Cantlay too if it were me and probably focus myself starting in that 20 to 1 range. And this, if you remember correctly, we both hit Webb here last year when they hung a 30 to 1 on him. I believe it was the second event back, so the second ever show that we did. Is that right?
I have no idea. I can't remember.
We did. So Colonial was the first show that we did after the restart. And I believe we both had Xander, who missed out there. And then we both had Webb because they just randomly hung a 30 to 1 on him because he played like shit at the Colonial where everyone expected him to play well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we were like 30 to 1, let's take it. Boom. We both hit winners, and here we are 9 months later.
Show goes on, baby.
Yeah, baby.
No, at the same time, that is true, Joe. Thank you for pointing out that we have not been even doing this for an entire year. This has been since May of 2020. So support us. Give us a like and subscribe and do all those things that help us grow and keep this thing going so we can keep betting people. Big fan. Charlie's a big fan. Be a big fan. Big fan of a big fan. Guys, we got to get to CT and answer. We're going to get there. Don't worry about that. We'll get there. A miscut for Patrick Cantlay last week. Could that be a sign of what's to come? Our guy over here, the real AWOL, he's been on the chat before. Dude, Cantlay was awful at the Masters. You said you would be more inclined to go into the 20s if you could find Cantlay, but you can't. You have to bet him at 17 with Matt Fitzpatrick at 17 to 1. What the hell? Because I can find Fitzpatrick at like 25 to 1.
I'm looking at 28 right now. So there's some like wonky odds in different books. Yeah.
So that's why you should shop these numbers for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. Make sure you have 1, 2, preferably 3 at your disposal, and take the one with the best odds because it can like legit make a huge difference. And we talked about this before, but if you get someone at 40 to 1 versus 30 to 1, that basically pays for a full another week's worth of bets, at least the way that I kind of account for it. So yeah, shop them around, take the best number available, try to stay on top of it. It's why we try to do this Monday nights. We try to follow up with some content and stuff like that on Tuesday that I know you do. We have some stuff Wednesday, so we try to keep an eye throughout the week on getting yourself the best bang for your buck.
All right, Joe. Now, I am interested in Matt Fitzpatrick if I can find him at a better number than this, which I can somewhere else. But then look at the 20s, dude. Look at the names in the 20s. They are just shoving names down here. You got Morikawa, Hatton, Zalatoris, Berger, Paul Casey, Connors, Cameron Smith, all in the 21, 22, 23 to 1 range. I think Morikawa is criminally priced. I am happy to get him right here. You can get him at 21. I've seen him at 20, 22. Either way, anything in the 20s for Morikawa, a proven winner. Don't we just put $5 on that?
Yeah, I think he's kind of the consensus in terms of best value in this range, given upside. I'm not too worried about him playing 4 days at the Master and having to come over here. He's young. He's in good form. He plays well. And he's a winner. All things that we're looking for here. Short Bermuda grass course also should suit him fairly well. There's a couple of other guys there. I mean, you Berger, Cam Smith have proven themselves to be very, they've been good. And then you have Tyrrell Hatton as well, who I have some interest in. I know last year, he kind of lucked his way around the greens a little bit last year, but he came in great form. Look, if there's one thing, like I had a lot of bad takes for Masters Week, but I think my stance on Tyrrell Hatton, looking back on it, was right. He topped 20. He played pretty well. Had it not been for an unfortunate 4-putt on day one, he would have been under par, and he shot his best round ever at the Masters. So that's a note that I'm going to be keeping in mind should we come back here next year and just say, look, I think he's kind of figured his way around here, and he's a good enough player that can win. He's a good enough player that has won like 4 times in the last calendar year. So 25-1, I think, is very fair. But then, you got Zalatoris, you got Answers. So there's a lot of good win equity right here in this range, I think.
So did you fire off on Hatton?
I have not yet. No.
So I fired off on Morikawa immediately. I'm up money from the workday a couple of weeks ago, I feel like. So $5 on a Morikawa 20-1, just give us some money back. Now, Zalatoris, people might be interested in going back, the runner-up at the Masters. He is here at 22. You can find him maybe 25 some places. Are we interested in trying Zalatoris out again?
Maybe. Look, I was so impressed, and I like to feel like I'm pretty clued in terms of guys who are rising and on tour. But I really had no idea. And this kid, in my mind, took another leap forward. Like, I knew he was good, and I knew the ball striking prowess was there. But mentally, to be able to stand there, next to Justin Rose and in a final pairing on Saturday, and just to be able to essentially outplay the guy he was next to every single day, who were veterans around this course, who were former world number. These guys had all the accolades in the world. But I'm a little bit worried. It's just you come off a performance like that, and can you really back that up? I think he'll play well. Look, he's going to make the cut. He's probably going to top 20, but is he going to win? I just feel like it probably comes at a different spot for him, one that rewards his where he's best better.
Which is smashing the shit out of it.
Yes, which is off the tee, which is his ball striking. Now, I know approach is pretty huge this week, but it's also shorter approach shots. So it brings a lot of different type of approach metrics into play. And off the tee, this is one of those weird courses where it just doesn't seem to have a lot of correlation with success in comparison to other stops on tour.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we are talking the betting board for the RBC Heritage. If you are on Twitter, you need to retweet this Periscope tweet thing, and then you are entered into a drawing for one of those cool t-shirts. Also, you retweet it afterwards. You're following the replay. Boom. Retweet it now while you're watching the replay, and you're entered in for next week. These T-shirts are cool, Joe. You got one that says the golf betting club, and then you got the gambling club, and then you got the laggers. I mean, these are chill T-shirts. You buy these things for $20 $20.
Yeah,
on the
$20. Cartel. You can buy them. We have a link on the Preferred Lines Twitter that you posted a little bit ago, but just retweet it anyways, right? Do us a solid. If you're here checking this out, that would be very much appreciated of you. We see you in this chat, and if you don't retweet it, we're offended. So please do.
George. Just kidding. No, you guys are awesome. We love you all. And we're into the 20s. Yes. We've been into 20s. We're going to leave the 20s, but should we talk about the couple now? Can Corey Connors win in the 20 range?
So impressive last week. Another
He's
guy,
so good.
Like all these guys. He's so incredibly impressive off the tee, but it just felt like if he could have had a putting week a la Hideki had, a la Justin Rose had on the greens, could have easily won. He's going to set up well on very difficult courses, I think, moving forward. U.S. Open, like maybe look to Corey Connors, right? He's so straight and with everything, but I just haven't made a lot of decisions at the top this week, to be completely honest with you. And part of it's a little bit of a Masters hangover mentally, and it just being Monday night. So I'm still kind of digesting the board and all that I'm really looking for. And the other part of it is I just want to kind of let the week unfold and see, gauge some interviews. I don't know what the withdrawals are going to look like, particularly at the top. We've already had Bryson knock himself out, so you don't know if that's over with either. And I just want to hear what the experts think, like yourself. So who you got?
Oh, God. I was going to ask you, though, like, do we expect some movement in these numbers in the 20s? Because they're just putting this thing at 21, 22, 23. They're putting like 10 names at that. Is that just in an attempt to let some people come in, move some money around, and then they finally settle at a number? Or are they doing this? What they're like covering their ass because the DJ withdrew a couple weeks ago, and that just keeps happening to the books where the 22s were 28s and 30s, and now so they're just like, fuck it, we're doing 22. We'll let the people bet, and then we'll move a guy back down to 28 about Wednesday morning. So is there going to be a drift?
It doesn't feel like it, and I only say that just because I think that the handle, and what I mean by the handle is the amount of dollars that come in on this event, are going to be way down off the Masters. So we may not have as much attention from the sports book in terms of adjustment of the odds throughout. Now, we usually see some slight movement on Wednesdays. It does, though, I will give you, it does feel like that they just jammed a lot of guys in right there at 22 to 25 and are like, we don't really know who to price here for a lot of reasons. So we're going to take these 8 guys, and instead of trying to sort out who's got the best odds, who's got the worst, we're just going to lump them all together.
Now, does it really sometimes a Masters winner is a chalk winner, a guy that took Vegas and everyone's happy, like Tiger that one year. Does it matter that Hideki won? Are we going to get better numbers in the next few weeks because of the fact that Hideki won at 50 to 1, but no one was really on him? Have you ever thought of that?
What was the question again? Like,
just like the Tiger years where Tiger wins and everyone's on Tiger, like in 2019, we're fucked for like 3 or 4 weeks after that because the books are like, oh God, we got to make our money back. But since Hideki won, maybe we're going to get a little softer, some nicer numbers. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're doing with these 20s.
I kind of felt like the Masters, they did leave a lot of opportunities out there.
Okay.
It was just finding the right guys, but it felt like the pricing was pretty fair last week in terms of the betting board. This week, it's hard. It all depends so much on the field. So I think that you're right. Had they gotten absolutely killed, like I think their number one exposure guy last week was Spieth. Had to be. Because they had people with futures on him at 40, 50 to 1. And I think he was the most bet guy going into the week. So to your point, had Spieth crushed it last week and won, you're right. We would probably see a little bit more hesitation for them to hang big numbers, particularly in futures.
I think you would have seen like Morikawa at 18 and Hatton at 18. You would have seen both those dudes under 10 at the top. And like, you're getting a little leverage. And they're like, okay, hey, you're into it. You like golf betting? Cool. Let's see you try it out at this RBC Heritage thing. When you get a couple good guys at 20 to 1 where you're confused, why is Morikawa here? Why is Hatton here? This is a nice number. There's a nice number at 30 to 1 at this sports book. Not a lot of sports book have Abraham Answer at 30 to 1. And we've got some chat going on about Abraham Answer. They want to know what your opinion is. Is that worthy of a bet? Because he finished second last year. We know he led the field in approach here at the RBC Heritage, likes the course. Coming in a little motivated off of that video that zoomed in, showing Abraham Answer.
Kind of forgot about that.
There. Do you think he's coming in a little grit and grind and wants to do it and show it up?
Yeah, and I think that another big reason that I do like Answer this week is because there's so much added motivation. He has to get that first win, right? There's a lot of guys who are showing up here for the RBC check, and maybe their focus isn't entirely there coming off the Masters, where Answer – he knows he finished solo second last year, correct? Is either solo second or T2.
No, he was solo second. One stroke behind Webb.
He had one of the best ball striking weeks I can remember in a long time last year. Like it felt like these are shorter, tinier greens, and you have to really play your angles correctly to have the correct approach shot. He was so dialed in, and it just felt like Webb had one of those weeks where everything went right for him, chip ins, long putts, doing what Webb Simpson does. But yeah, I thought Answer had the better week. I think that 28 to 1 is a great, fair number for him. I don't have the 30, but I have the 28, and that's probably one of the top ones that I'm leaning to.
Okay. Now, the 30s don't have as many names as the 20s, but you have Birdie Brian Harmon, who, Joe, is playing great golf. You have Kevin Na, who's a winner on tour, I think the most in the last like 22 months, if anybody. It's weird. And then Harris English is also a winner. And then Sung Jae Im, getting the drift on him. No one believes in Sung Jae anymore. I kind of want to go all Im on DraftKings. Is that a foolish decision?
I took Sung Jae. I bet him 35-1. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go.
In on Sung Jae. I feel like this could be Wyndham week. And I love Wyndham. And I love Wyndham week.
Well, we know we love Bermuda on Wyndham for sure.
Yeah. And
wait, yeah, you love Wyndham week. That was $112,500.
Yeah. Led on the team by one Sung Jae Im that week. So, and he was coming in crap form to the Wyndham, actually, if you remember right. He had been playing like shit, and we were coming back to a short Bermuda grass course where he's had his most success. Honda Classic is short Bermuda grass course. So, yeah, in on Im. I'm willing to overlook the poor performance last week and the horrible miscut. Like he didn't even come close to the cut line. I don't know what he finished.
This happens, Joe. They have the one blow up hole.
Okay, but Chad, had he finished 30th, he'd probably be down here in this lump with these guys 22 to 25-1. I feel like there's a little bit of a discount there. So I took 35 on Sung Jae. Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right, I'll be into. I'll take that. I'm going to do a lot of DraftKings Im lineups just because the savings is there, and we know he can get robotic and dominate for a little bit. Let's do the 40s: Hoffman and Garcia and Horschel and Kuchar. There's some veteran names there. You got any interest in any of the Matt Kuchar course history?
Not Kuchar, no. But I want to ask. I want to turn the question on you for a second. Your boy, I think, has the best form in this range. I think that coming off a giant WC victory, he's got probably the best career accolades, and he's in the best form right now. And he had a little bit of a meltdown at the Masters. You went viral on the butt slide and then the club slam. So he had himself an eventful week in Augusta. Can he rebound this week? I do feel like 45. He probably presents the most value in this range in terms of, is he going to win? I didn't bet him, but I want to know what you think.
God, I was pretty big on Billy last week, and it was interesting because they had him on the featured group a couple days in a row, and that was great for me because I was following the whole time because he's Billy and he's my guy or whatever. But I'm not terribly confident in a 45. That's the right number for Billy Horschel this week. I haven't bet it ultimately. I don't think I will. I just feel like he's kind of in a ready for a letdown, a little ready for I need a couple weeks off stretch, because that's what happens in the match play, especially, and then you grind through the Masters. This could be something where he's just more maybe mentally checked out, fatigued from apologizing to Augusta for having a personality and having emotion. Like, oh, I'm sorry, he has an emotion reaction to things. And
did he have to apologize? Is that known?
He tweeted an apology. I don't think he had to.
Oh, did he? Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, and then I tweeted him back like, do not apologize. Do not, because it's not necessary of an apology. Like, yes, the club slam thing, extra sauce a little bit, but you don't need to do that. Ultimately, at Augusta, just be happy. And he said it too. He was like, you know what, Joe, I'm 36. I look young, but these dudes are like their young 30s. They're not even that old. Like, they're kind of young and immature. We give them more credit than they should get sometimes. Billy, on the other hand, he's always had this emotion. He's always kind of gone off on the rails, been a crazy ass. So I didn't expect any. I don't know why anybody's like outraged by this, or Billy Horschel's like now gone viral for these things that he's done every single tournament for the last few months, even throwing his putter super high in the air, doing all this weird stuff, talking back to a heckler. I mean, these are like leading up to the Masters, where then he has the moment with Phil and he falls, and then the next day there were so many, I couldn't even keep track of how many Billy Horschel moments there were. That leads me to believe he'll be fatigued. I'm not in. I'd rather go, honestly, with a Sergio who's shown here that he likes it, or a Kuchar who's shown here he likes it.
Kuchar loves it. I'd rather go Kuchar than Sergio. I felt like Sergio was really disappointed in his performance last week, even though I thought he set up really nicely. So I'd rather Kuchar, although I passed all I passed over all these guys. Yeah. I have some interest though, and I have him at 45, so I'll talk about him. I'm not sure where DraftKings has him, but Siwoo. Yeah, Siwoo. Yep.
I was going to
He
ask
was
you about
another
the
guy
Pete
he was another guy on the Wyndham team as well. So he was another guy on the Wyndham roster. So I'm thinking about just running that back this week because
Love it.
I think all of those guys are in the field.
Then we might have to get to some long shots here.
Is Mark Hubbard playing this week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I might run the entire team back that won me all the money.
Maybe leaving a lot of money on the table this week.
I might just bet them all too. I've already got like 3 of them bets on them. So Siwa was on that team. He was winning. He should have won the Wyndham had it not been for a meltdown.
No, Horschel should have won.
No. But Siwa was ahead. He was in the leading group, and he was the favorite by a large
so
margin
did the major
to win that turn. Siwu had the early meltdown. Billy had the late meltdown. Herman had the trophy.
Congrats. God, what a great week that was for you.
That was a fun week.
The users. This isn't the first time we've been playing in DraftKings. We've been doing this for a while. We've been betting on golf. We're old adults now, spending money, wasting it, but winning every once in a while. And Joe won $112,500 on DraftKings. That was, 8, 9, 10 months ago? 11 months ago? It's great.
I think it was August. Yeah, that was fun. And that was at a tournament that is a huge comp to this course in terms of a shorter Bermuda grass course. The field feels very similar. A lot of these things are lining up, man. And I think I'm going to take Siwoo Kim if I can get squeeze out a 45 or a 50 to 1. I think that there was a level of embarrassment last week. Speaking of meltdowns, I don't think that he intended to break the putter.
No.
Then he had to putt with a 3-wood, but played pretty well all week. He's in great form.
Better than his partners.
I know. Or was it a 5-wood? I don't know. But anyway, Siwoo is absolutely striping the hell out of the ball right now. So I think that he should set up really well on a course that he has a good run at, on a course where I believe he's won here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe not. Maybe
no. Kadira won and CT Pan won. I think he was runner up.
No. Okay, well, Pete Dye, you should play Siwoo. So I might play him. Yeah.
Webb Simpson, CT Pan, Sadashi Kadira, or whatever his name was.
Siwoo
Kim was runner up to Kadira that year.
Yes, Kadira.
That was when Mayo won like 10 grand. All right, we got a couple names in the 50s and 60s. We talked about Fleetwood. We could talk about Fleetwood's here at 55. I don't think you can find him anywhere else at 50. He's in the 40s or 30s. Like, he's a real good golfer. 55, if you can get that, hammer that, because he's ready to win. Kevin Kisner knows he can only win at a few courses, and this might be one of them, but he's coming off of 2 missed cuts. He's at 55. Shane Lowry, Ian Poulter. Poulter's kind of a course history guy here, too. Any interest in any of the other names?
No, I didn't play any of them. I went straight to essentially long shots from here on out. What about you? Do you have anybody in this range? I mean,
okay,
Kirk
so in
kind
the
of
60s,
interested me a little bit. Yeah.
The what?
I thought I had a little bit of interest in Kirk, but
yeah, Kirk's good at 60. I think that's fine, but I don't know if win ultimately. So I feel like that you can lean towards a top 5 or top 10 play on that. Chris Kirk, Kevin Streelman's here at 60. Bazunahut, Todd, Westwood, Grace, Griot, Glover, the 3 Gs. I'm not into those. I'm not into Stuart Sink. I'm not into Hadwin. That's where there's a gap, in my opinion, from like the 30s and 40s. You go to the long shots, Joe. Vegas, they don't know. They're not in tune with what we're in tune to, I think. They've left us numbers. Like, starting with 100 to 1, you got Patton Kazire playing great golf. Then you got Munoz, winner on Bermuda, loves Bermuda. Matt Wallace playing excellent. Almost 5th or 4th in strokes gained total in his last 6 events in this field. Matt Wallace there at 100 to 1. Dylan Fratelli, Pete Dye guy, 125 to 1. Doug Gim, darling of the last few months, 125 to 1. Matt Hughes, great golfer, great putter, 125 to 1. You got Long, McCarthy digging in the Denny dirt. We got Michael Thompson's here. HV3 is at the 125. JT Poston, a proven winner. Cameron Davis is 140. You got CT Penny one here. You got Matt Naismith, a dude that we know is going to win. Bermuda Birds is 175 to 1. Jim Furyk, double winner here. Bryce Garnett, Noren Bedlam, Doc Redmond. What is going on? These are our names, Joe. Let's do it. Am I too excited?
It's long shot week, man. You've got let's just grab a handful of them. But I think a lot of those guys are I like Kazire. I like Michael Thompson. He played well last week. I like Fratelli. I think Fratelli just set the course record on Sunday here last year.
Wow, did he?
With a
Yeah,
62. He's 100 to 1. Denny Dirt, another guy from the Wyndham roster. He'll be.
You got to roster Denny Dirt.
I'm rostering Denny Dirt.
Joe, there's a stat. PGA Tour Communications tweeted out 4 of the last 5 winners at the RBC Heritage are first-time winners on tour. And Joe, through 28 events so far this season, there's only been 3 first-time winners. We are due for a first-time winner. Can it be Denny McCarthy? Digging in the Denny Dirt. Can we get 125 winner on Denny McCarthy?
Let's bet it, man. I'm in.
Oh my gosh, we love him.
I'm going to bet Doc, too.
Doc Redman, too?
Doc's is 175.
But I wanted to ask you about Cameron Davis, dude. We need a tee to green guy, and he's a tee to green guy. But are we worried Cameron Davis can't do it in the water with the water everywhere? Lurking?
I think he's more of an off the tee guy, which I'm not looking so much at this week. I always like my book knows probably that I'm going to bet Cam Davis, so they have him down at 75 to 1.
Your book.
So I'm not going to bet Cam Davis this week. I just feel like his strength is a bit negated. But there are some other guys there that you mentioned. Doc, love Doc. Neesmith should be a great play this week.
Right.
Hubbard, who I'm looking at now, he played really well at the Wyndham.
225 for Mark Hubbard.
They got him on Bovada right now. It's 400 to 1. Mark Hubbard.
That's ridiculous. He's a good.
So he plays short courses, Bermuda courses. He plays very well at. And then there was one more guy I was looking at. Oh, Mac Hughes. Definitely taking Mac Hughes. Right. He's too good to be 150 to 1. And he's got a good track record on short Bermuda grass courses as well. He won the RSM before. I believe he won that event. He finished second at the Honda Classic. So these are courses that fit in his wheelhouse. And he had a pretty decent performance at the Masters last week as well. So 150 to 1 is a huge number. I would probably lay some of the top 10, top 20 numbers sooner before later, because I think a lot of these guys end up around in that 80 range. So to your question earlier, do we see much movement this week? I think that they chop some of these guys at these long odds when they start to see the amount of volume they're taking on the long shots and the exposure that they'll have should one of them win.
Dude, I wanted to ask you about Sam Bermuda Burns on Bermuda at 175 to 1. We've been betting him. What the hell? Why is he 175 to 1? Does Vegas not realize they could put him at like 100 and people would still bet him? He's 175.
I have him at 100. So, yeah, these DraftKings odds are a little bit wonky, like I said earlier. But, yeah, that's a big number. That said, it's another – I got to look a little bit more into Sam Burns because he's had a couple bad performances in a row, and I want to kind of figure out where and why, but that's it.
Yeah, okay. Andrew Putnam was playing good golf, so you could try that out, or it's a top 10 play. You could do stuff that Tom Hoagie's top 10, top 20 play. Chase Seifert's down here. He's been playing good golf. You can get a 45 to 1 on the top 5. Jesus. Maverick McNeely's 275 to 1. Henrik Norlander, Wyndham Clark, KH Lee. These golfers have been playing good golf. So in DraftKings this week, it might be spray. It might be stars. Take the stars because we know the stars will rise in this tournament. And you take the random scrubs that DraftKings is just chucking prices on because they don't know what to do. So that's the stars and scrubs approach on DraftKings, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. Exactly like you said. I'm going to play Webb. I'm going to play Webb. I feel like he's much safer in DraftKings than DJ. Versus an outright play. I think the DJ, if you're going to take one of those guys at the top, I think DJ is probably the better outright. But I think that Webb is very safe here for, like, let's say a top 12 is safe. I think that a top 5 is probably very likely.
I'm thinking that Webb is a little irritated and he's like, this is a Ryder Cup year and I haven't had my best shit. I had it for a flash at the Masters. I've had it for a flash here and there. I think he's angry. I will say, DJ also, same thing. Would it shock you, Joe, if DJ came in, you open up the app Thursday morning, you haven't been paying any attention, he's -5 through 6 holes because he is just angry, motivated DJ?
will never shock me if he's -5 through 6 holes. Yeah, he's the best, probably the best player in the world.
Yeah,
I think
he could be -25 in this tournament. And the next best guy is -18, and that could be the outcome of this tournament. That literally
he has the least amount of flaws of the top players. Although the one guy that I would kind of Rahm is the other guy with really no flaw. But Rahm doesn't have the career wins that DJ has, so you have to give him the nod there. But the other top players have major. I mean, Justin Thomas, we saw last week, has some major flaws in his game. Rory has some major flaws in his game right now. But DJ, I think is a very safe play. I'm just not going to bet him 10-1.
Okay, everybody, did you retweet? If you haven't, you still have a chance to retweet the pod. The tweet about us doing this. Preferred Lines Podcast, Periscope, retweet. I don't know. Whatever. Retweet whatever the hell we have tweeted out, and you will be entered into a drawing for one of those cool t-shirts. And also, we have some questions, Joe, from the audience.
Yeah, let's do a little Q&A here. Let's go rip through some questions. What do you say?
Now, overseed, does that matter?
Overseed. I don't know how to factor it in, George. I think it does matter a little bit, but I wouldn't know where to begin in terms of starting to factor in who that's better for and who that's worse for.
If you're really focused on a Bermuda guy because it's Bermuda in your head, you don't need to ultimately. Like, it really doesn't matter. Guys, let's see. Chad is just happy Rory McIlroy.
Got him.
That is true. Save more Okawa for Tori. Yes on answer. Hard pass on Periscope. Oh, no. Charlie R is a big YouTube guy. Sorry. This was a question I was looking for. It's from Jesse. He's the man. He asks us great questions. He says, what's up, guys? When you build your model this week, what were your top 5 stats?
So to answer you, Jesse, I haven't built a model yet. So it's going to be hard for me to answer, but I will say this. Here's a little plug for a friend that I've been following on Twitter, at PGA Tout. He may be in the chat here, but he puts a great little article and a piece out on Monday mornings that you guys should all check. It's completely free. He does a good deep dive into the tournament field. I like to check that out. It's one of the first things that I like to look at. And I will give me 1 second, his top 5 stats here. Top 5 correlated stats for the RBC Heritage. Number 1, strokes gained tee to green. Number 2, strokes gained par 4. Number 3, DraftKings points, which that doesn't really have much. Number 4, par 4, scoring 400 to 450, so shorter par 4s. Number 5, bogeys avoided. The big one that's kind of noteworthy here is strokes gained off the tee is 27th, which is very, very low for that stat on a PGA Tour event. And around the green is 32nd. So those two things, apparently he has not factored in much this week. That's what he's got. So hopefully that helps, Jesse.
You know what's funny is that this is the type of week you kind of go old school with your stats. And you look at fairways in regulation. Who's hitting the fairways? Doesn't fucking matter how far away or how far from the tee box they hit the fairway. It doesn't even matter this week. They want to be in the fairway. 1. Second, they want to have greens in regulation. They want to be having a good shot from A to B onto the green. So those are some real old schooly stats that actually do apply to this tournament, because it doesn't matter that you're a bomber. It doesn't matter that you're bombing it long and straight in the fairway like maybe last week it did. It doesn't matter if you're a bad iron player or you got to be a good iron player, but at the same time, if you're bad and you're around the green is really good and it can pick you up and save you in situations, or you can hit it from around the green into a spot makes it par. That doesn't make any difference here. That doesn't matter. That's proven. So those are all important things to a golfer's game, and you want to have a guy that can get up and down for sure. But at the same time, iron players, that's all you need. They're going to hit hybrids off the tees. They're going to hit irons off the tees. They're going to hit irons into the approaches. They're going to hit wedges. This is a Morikawa. If he's on fire, look out, because that could be he could run away with it too. That's the type of player that could run away with it. Or you could get a long shot guy that has great iron play.
I think I'm going to go at the top. Like, the more that you talk and the more that I kind of think through this in my head, I think I'm going to go with the tag team of Morikawa and Answer, both in the 20s. I think that Abe sets up better, and I think that Morikawa is just upside in terms of, like you said, he could go 5 under through 5. So, yeah, feels right.
Charlie says Answer Karma Week. Uh-oh.
What's Karma Week mean? Oh, just from
Karma
last
Week?
year. Okay.
Yeah, the Masters getting screwed. Are we just ironing the iron play? Yeah. Ironing the iron play, for sure.
No, ignoring.
Oh. Ignoring? No, we're not ignoring. It's a long day. Who the top 5 feet?
No, we're not ignoring iron play. We just talked about how important iron play is. So no, we're not ignoring it. No matter what Chad says, he just told you that iron play is important. He's not ignoring it. The mountains are still blue.
All right. Anyway, who are the top 5 Pete Dye players? You got to go with. Apparently, Siwoo Kim likes Pete Dye. Have you heard this, Joe?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I have it pulled up here. Top 5 Pete Dye courses, the last 24 rounds, so the last 6 events they've played in. Give me some other names who you think's on this list. So Siwoo Kim is 10th, so he's on there.
Webb's
number 1.
Yeah. Cantlay.
Cantlay's number 3.
Then, God, would Zalatoris already be up there? I don't think.
No, it's not. I'll give it to you. Answer's number 2, DJ 4. Then it's Paul Casey, Tommy Fleetwood, a couple of English lads. Brian Harmon playing really good golf. Rates out number 7 here. Sergio, Matt Fitzpatrick. So a lot of European guys looks like they like themselves some Pete Dye. Berger, you guys are saying Berger. I don't see him. He's 17th for the last 24 rounds, but if you look more long-term, he may be on there.
This is a good question. Charlie's asking about our strategy for betting top 10s or top 20s, and I think this is definitely the week to do that because the books are kind of asleep a little bit on our names. We're in the industry. We're around the Twitter. We know the Hubbards. We know the random 200 to 1 guys that I'm disappointed in the books for not knowing. I'm like, really? You don't know? You don't respect this Maverick McNeely dude? He's 300 to 1? But at a top 20, I love it. So, or Joe, what you do with those names? What do you do with those names on Wednesday night?
You put a little money on Jock Market, right?
That's right. Yes, you do. Those are the best ones, I'm telling you, because you're like, wait a second. Nobody likes this name? I could get him for $2, $4, $3 on Jock Market, and he could easily pay 10, 11, 12, 20. It's happened.
Yep. My strategy is usually 80 to 1 and above. I will start top 10ing guys. So that means they're usually top 10 number starts at about 6 to 1-ish. And then top 20 is like 175 to 1 and above on those guys. I'll look to top 20 because you can sometimes still get that same 6, 8, 10 to 1 on a top 20. So that's what I do, Charlie. I'll see you this week, hopefully this weekend.
Charlie's got another question about live betting. Do we do it? Yeah. Should I tell people how? God, don't do it. Don't get started, Charlie. God, it's like, don't do it, man. Don't get into this live betting thing because it'll just take all your money, man. It'll ruin you. Because what'll happen is now, live betting and betting after each round is different, even though that is technically hedging yourself as the tournament goes along. I'm a little worried about those things. The live betting, though, on a Sunday afternoon, that can get you. You got to be careful. Yeah.
Be very careful.
I will say, though, I've had some success, but yeah, it's a scary situation. Kaprizov, or whatever his name is, this wild guy. I don't know if he's legit. I barely watch hockey. Let's see. Eddie Horschel level for this course. We just talked about that. We're not sure. Bermuda, whatever. Either way, Joe, let's look to see who retweeted because it is not too late. If you've retweeted, Joe, there's only a couple retweets. For fuck's sakes.
All right.
Oh, there's 6 of them. I guess that's not too bad. All right. Who won? Who wants to win? You got Tim Brown. I already sent him something. So, Tim, you could win. Scott Stewart. This Fincham. Travis Funchen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dude. Who else retweeted? Tip your cap.
Yep, a couple of guys done for me. Tim, Josiah, Eric Hill is another one. So we got some people to choose from.
Okay. Who do we want to do? Oh, well, this Travis dude doesn't even follow us. So go fuck yourself, Travis. Follow us. Jesus Christ. Well, what do you think? I mean, we've already, it's up to you. Who's retweeted your thing?
So like I said, we have Eric Hill, Tim Brown, we got Josiah, and we got Eddie Moore. We should give it to my guy, Eddie.
Okay.
Are you cool with that?
I love Eddie.
I know that's not random, but Eddie's a good dude. So Eddie,
well, what's important is that Eddie
him and I know we got a little thing. Yeah. Eddie, appreciate the retweet, buddy. I will send you a T. DM me. I know we have a little conversation going from the past. So appreciate all you guys. The rest of you guys in there, keep retweeting. We will make sure to pull up the randomizer next week, and we'll have the names plugged in, so we'll randomly draw it. But thank you all for tuning in again. We're trying to keep these shows a little bit shorter. So shit, we're at 45 minutes now. We failed. But we'll appreciate you guys all coming in. Hopefully we answer some questions, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Peace. Heritage, baby.
Dude, watch the show Wednesday night. Joe Idone with Rick Run Good on the Rick Run Good YouTube channel. It's a fun show to watch. You could do that. You could download the app if you're in a state that allows it. That's fun. Jock Market. And it is PL20. It'll match you $20. Also, Joe, we love everyone that's watching this. Thank you for keeping this fun. Just keep going.
For keeping it fun. Keeping it chill.
Peace out, everybody. See you next Monday. Live on